Shocking truth. Millionaire CEO rejects 8 models, but craves single MOM delivery girl at midnight. In the heart of San Francisco, under the shroud of midnight, a drone swept low over the slick streets glistening with rain. The air hummed with anticipation, like a storm waiting to unleash itself. In that moment, the city's wealth and chaos intertwined. A tall, sharp-suited figure flicked his wrist, dismissing models one by one. 8 perfect women, each with limbs like sculptures and eyes that sparkled like diamonds. Yet, none caught the attention of Mason Cole, the millionaire CEO known for his ruthless business tactics and impeccable taste. Tonight, he craved something no amount of money could buy: a mysterious delivery girl who worked the late-night shift. Emma had just delivered a dozen garlic knots when she received an alert on her phone. It was a request from him, the very same man revered and feared by the elite. Heart racing, she still shook her head in disbelief. Why would someone like him want a delivery from her? She was just a single mom, struggling to make ends meet, faint hopes tucked away while raising her daughter. But sparks of curiosity ignited into flames of fear as she received the message: at precisely midnight, come to my penthouse. The city hummed sleepily, but her heart thundered in her chest. She glanced at the towering glass building looming above her, reflecting every city light into a million scattered stars. Each step towards the entrance of that luxury high-rise felt heavier. What awaited her inside? Was she stepping into a realm reserved only for the opulent, or into something sinister? She couldn't shake the feeling that every step echoed a warning, yet she pushed on, propelled by an insatiable need to know. Her hands trembled as she arrived. The scent of fancy cologne filled the air, invasive and intoxicating. Manicured lights switched the dim atmosphere into a glaring spotlight, painting his silhouette like an enigmatic sculpture. And there, he was, the man who had rejected beauty, but now craved the ordinary. "You're here," he said, voice smooth as silk but edged with something darker. Did he see her as a novelty or a distraction? "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads-up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." The tension snapped like a taut string between them. She felt it deep in her bones. The gravity of the moment felt almost surreal. Standing in that lavish penthouse, the view of the city made her dizzy. And then, he stepped closer. The proximity sent electric chills throughout her body, awakening something wild and undisciplined within her. Why was he so drawn to her? A swirl of questions filled her mind. She could practically hear them, buzzing like a wasp, a painful, overwhelming buzz. And just as the atmosphere surged with possibility, her phone rang. The ringtone shattered the silence, breaking whatever spell had formed. "Please," he whispered, almost pleading. In that hushed room, everything hung in the air, thick with uncertainty. What was the real reason Mason Cole had invited her here? And what would that mean for Emma? As shadows threatened to devour the light, a surge of desperation pushed her to the brink. Would she find out more, or was she about to unravel a dark, unsettling truth? Her heart raced as she glanced at the phone. The caller ID flickered ominously, an unknown number. Panic clawed at her insides. What if it was something important? What if it was about Emma? The thought sent a chill down her spine. "It's just a delivery," she reminded herself. Yet, Mason's penetrating gaze held her captive, pulling her deeper into uncertainty. "Are you going to answer that?" His voice, deep and commanding, hung in the air like smoke. There was an edge to it, a darkness she couldn't quite place. Emma hesitated, torn between the familiar urgency of motherhood and the inexplicable allure of the man before her. She swiped to silence the call, the tension tightening around them once again. "You wanted a delivery," she said, forcing bravado into her voice, but her words trembled like leaves in a windstorm. The corner of Mason's mouth quirked up, amusement dancing in his eyes. "And yet, here we are discussing anything but dinner." He stepped closer, and warmth radiated from him, an intoxicating mixture of danger and temptation. Emma's thoughts raced. Did he really call her here for a simple meal? Or was there more lurking behind those dark eyes? The oppressive elegance of the penthouse swallowed her whole. "Why me?" she asked, words spilling out before she could rein them in. Mason's expression shifted, a sudden seriousness eclipsing the playfulness. "You're different," he replied, his voice dropping to a low whisper that sent chills down her spine. "You see me for who I am, not just a name in the paper or a face on the screen." The words shocked her. How could he possibly think that? She was just trying to get by, raising her daughter alone, delivering meals to make rent. "I'm just a delivery girl," she stammered, uncertainty creeping back in. He shook his head slowly, the intensity in his gaze sharp enough to cut through the air. "Not just? You possess something they lack. Genuine connection." He stepped even closer, their bodies nearly touching. The heat radiated off him like a furnace, and she fought the urge to step back. In that moment, the world outside fell away. Every distraction blurred into insignificance. But then her phone buzzed again, pulling her back into reality. She glanced down, and her heart plummeted at the sight of the message. The screen flashed. "Emma, ITS urgent. Call me back now." Her pulse quickened. Emma's breath caught in her throat. She had feared this moment would arrive. Her precarious balance as a mother suddenly felt weighty and threatening. I need to make this call," she murmured, glancing nervously at Mason, whose expression hardened. He stepped back, putting space between them, and the air turned stiff and cold, as if a door had slammed shut. "You're free to go, but I'd rather we speak," he replied, voice heavy with an emotion that felt like a storm about to burst. She felt vulnerable standing there, caught between two worlds, the one that offered safety, and the one that called to her like a siren's song. Could she dare to unravel Mason's intentions? As she turned to leave, she could feel his eyes boring into her back, a weight pressing down on her shoulders. What awaited her outside that penthouse? Would she be walking back into the chaos of her life, or stepping into the unknown of a dangerous allure? One last glance over her shoulder, and the air crackled with the promise of something unwritten. But as she pressed the call button on her phone, the question echoed in her mind. What was Mason Cole really willing to reveal about himself, and what consequence would that have for her? The line rang, but the only response was silence. And in that silence, the true urgency of this moment loomed larger than ever. What if she didn't like the truth? What if she couldn't handle it? The call continued to ring, each tone stretching into an eternity. Emma felt the weight of the silence settle heavy in her chest. What was she doing? She should just answer the call, put her fears aside, and focus on her daughter. But Mason's presence was magnetic, holding her captive in a moment that felt surreal and deeply unsettling. Just then, the call ended. A wave of dread washed over her. Emma stared at the screen, her mind racing. She took a deep breath, regaining her resolve. She had to prioritize Emma. She couldn't let anything cloud her judgment, especially not a man whose intentions felt as murky as the shadows creeping in the corners of the room. "Keep the call short if you're that worried," Mason said, an unsettling calmness in his voice that made her skin prickle. "I wouldn't want something to happen to your precious daughter." His eyes glinted in a way that sent a pulse of unease through her. How did he know? Emma turned sharply, the sheer audacity of his words slicing through her thoughts. "What do you know about my daughter?" she demanded, letting fear filter into the depth of her voice. Mason regarded her with an inscrutable expression. Then he stepped even closer, invading her personal space with a presence that felt oppressive yet alluring. "Enough to know that you're more than willing to put her first in every decision you make," he replied softly, almost tenderly. "That is admirable. But remember, even the strongest of mothers can be tempted." "Tempted?" she repeated, her voice barely above a whisper. The tension crackled between them like static electricity, pulling her deeper into a vortex of desire and dread. He brushed a lock of hair behind her ear, the gesture both intimate and unsettling. "Life is full of choices, Emma. Some take you deeper into safety. Others, well, they are the path to danger." Against her better judgment, she found herself captivated by the challenge in his eyes. The man was a riddle wrapped in a mystery, and she couldn't help but want answers. Suddenly, her phone buzzed violently in her hand like a frightened animal. Emma flinched and quickly looked down. A new call. It was from her neighbor, someone who helped her out with Emma during emergencies. Her heart dropped. "Could you excuse me for a moment?" Mason's expression darkened, but he nodded slowly, stepping back with an air of reluctant acceptance. "Go," he said, the single word layered with an emotional weight she couldn't decipher. Emma took a step back towards the door, but the urge to stay, to delve into his world, tugged hard at her heart. She pressed the answer button with shaking hands, her mind racing with unwelcome questions. "Emma, it's urgent." "Something has happened," her neighbor said, panic lacing his words. "It's about Emma. You should come over." Her heart plunged. "What do you mean? What happened?" There was a pause, a crackle of static on the other end. "Just get here. Now." Without fully grasping what was unfolding, Emma's instincts kicked in. She glanced up at Mason, who now stood watching her with arms crossed, his expression unreadable, but a flicker of concern lined his mouth. Could he sense what was happening? As she hung up and turned to leave, a shiver rushed down her spine. "I need to go. My daughter, wait." Mason's voice cut through the air like a knife. "If you leave now, there's no guarantee you'll come back. You might lose everything, not just her." "I can't stay here," she protested, her heart hammering against her ribs. The truth of his words hit her hard. What if leaving meant losing this chance? What if it meant losing more than just a moment with Mason? "Choose wisely, Emma," he replied, the darkness in his tone wrapping around her like a vice. Her stomach twisted. She had only moments to choose, but dread settled in her veins. With a heavy heart and no clear answer, she stumbled towards the door. What waited for her outside? Was it chaos or was it salvation? She felt trapped by the unknowingness of it all. As she opened the door and stepped into the night, questions buzzed around her mind. Could she truly handle what awaited her? And amid the flickering lights of the city, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that she was stepping into a darkness darker than her fears could ever fathom. The chill of the night air hit Emma like a splash of ice water, snapping her fully awake. A heavy sense of urgency propelled her forward, her mind racing with the weight of Mason's words. She couldn't afford to linger and unravel their meaning. Her daughter needed her. As she dashed down the dimly lit street, the shadows seemed to follow her, stretching and contorting into ugly shapes, twisting her thoughts into knots. Every sound a distant siren, the rustle of leaves echoed ominously in her ears. What happened to Emma? She muttered under her breath, clenching her fists to quell the rising tide of dread. With every step she took toward her neighbor's home, a gnawing fear coiled tighter in her stomach. The more she recalled Mason's enigmatic warnings, the more they burrowed into her mind. Was she really walking away from safety? How could she choose to leave him behind when there was so much she didn't understand? Before she could answer herself, she reached her neighbor's house, a modest two-story structure draped in darkness. She knocked frantically on the door, her heart racing like a wild beast in her chest. After a breathless moment, which felt like an eternity, the door creaked open, revealing her neighbor, David, his face pale, worry etched deep into his features. "Emma!" he exclaimed, ushering her inside. "You need to see this." He led her to the living room, where the flickering screen of the television cast an eerie glow across the room. Breaking news flashed before her eyes, drawing her into a chilling world. A close-up shot of a young girl with familiar features filled the screen, a police statement scrolling beneath. "Missing child, Emma Carter. Last seen in the vicinity of Sipley Park." A vice gripped Emma's heart. No, this can't be happening," she gasped, the blood draining from her face. She staggered back against the wall, the world around her dissolving into a blur of panic and despair. David rushed to her side, his voice urgent. "Emma, I've already called the police. They're on it. But you need to stay calm." "Calm? How can I be calm?" She felt the room spinning and braced herself against the wall to hold steady. "I can't lose her. I can't." The television continued to report details, as if it were a distant conversation happening outside her reality. The words, "witness," and "suspicious activity," crashed against her, overwhelming her senses. What had they meant? Who had seen her? Just then, David's phone buzzed loudly on the coffee table, breaking through her fog. He answered, his brow furrowing deeper with every sentence exchanged. "What? Are you sure?" Emma leaned closer, straining to hear. "What was that?" she insisted. David eyed her, urgency replacing hesitation. "They found something concerning related to your daughter at the park." Her stomach plummeted. "What do you mean concerning? Where is she?" David's expression turned grave. "They think she was taken, Emma. We need to prepare for the investigation." As those words landed heavily in the room, Emma reeled. Fear clawed at her throat, making it difficult to breathe. She felt a rush of heat. A cocktail of anger and desperation brewed inside her. She couldn't just stand there. She needed answers. "Tell the police I'll do whatever it takes to help," she shouted, a determination igniting within her. Yet, beneath that passionate cry, there was also the echo of Mason's warning what if stepping into this darkness would consume her. "What do we do now?" she demanded. David's silence hung thick, and his fingers fiddled with the edge of the couch. "We wait for their call," he managed, but it felt hollow, leaving her spinning with uncertainties. She looked back toward the television, holding her breath, as the newscaster spoke of a witness who'd seen something suspicious at the playground around the time Emma went missing. The tension in the room crackled. "Maybe a lead," David suggested carefully, trying to promise hope where none existed. But Emma was already considering the choice ahead of her. Would confronting this danger lead her back to her daughter, or to an even darker fate? The line between safety and devastation had never felt so thin. Suddenly, her phone buzzed in her pocket, breaking her reverie. She glanced down, heart racing at the unknown number flashing on the screen. Should she answer, or was this a connection to more chaos? Her hesitation lingered in the air, thick enough to slice through. Beyond the door, the world awaited a realm of uncertainty and danger that she could either plunge into or run from. And as she stood there, suspended between instinct and reason, she could hear Mason's voice whispering in the back of her mind, a taunting reminder that not everything outside would lead her home. Emma stared at the glowing screen of her phone, her heart slamming in her chest. The unknown number lingered ominously, taunting her with the promise of information that could tip her world on its axis. 1,000 thoughts screamed in her mind. What if it was the police? Or worse, what if it was someone who knew more about her daughter's disappearance? "Are you gonna answer that?" David's voice broke through her racing thoughts, an edge of impatience woven through his concern. Taking a deep breath, Emma pressed the button, putting the phone to her ear. Hello? Emma Carter? The voice was deep and gruff, and a shiver ran down her spine. Yes, who is this? What do you want? I have information about your daughter, the voice said, cold and unyielding. But we need to meet. Now. Panic surged through her, her mind racing as she glanced at David. Where? By the old swing set at Sipley Park. 10 minutes in the dark. Bring no one. The call ended abruptly, leaving her spiraling in disbelief. David's eyes widened, reading her expression instantly. What did they say? He knows something, Emma whispered, fear churning her stomach. But he wants to meet alone. Are you crazy? This is dangerous. David's voice rose in alarm, but her mind was made up. No. I have to go. I have to find her, she insisted, every fiber of her being igniting with resolve. Emma, please think. You don't even know who it is. I don't care. If he knows something, I have to then let me come with you, he urged, desperation drenching his tone. I want to let you go alone. She shook her head vigorously. No. I can't risk it. If this person is tied to what happened to Emma, I can't put you in danger. She felt the weight of the choice she was making. Part of her screamed for safety, but the deep mother instinct fueled her need to push forward. David stared at her, torn between fear for her safety and understanding of a mother's love. Then at least tell me you'll call the police, right after? Yes, sure. The lie felt like a heavy stone in her throat, but she couldn't afford to hesitate. Time slipped away rapidly as she rushed out of David's house and into the biting night air. Each step towards Sipley Park felt like a tread over broken glass, sharp and painful, twisting deeper into the unknown shadows. The park loomed ahead, dark and foreboding. The regular sounds of children's laughter that echoed through those swings were replaced by unsettling silence. Her heart raced as she neared the familiar old swing set, terror striking her with vivid clarity. Stop! A voice called out from the darkness, making her freeze. A figure emerged, half hidden under the ghostly glow of the streetlight. Who are you? She demanded, squaring her shoulders, trying to appear strong even as fear clawed at her. I told you to come alone, the figure said, his tone dripping with menace. But now that you're here, we can talk about Emma. Every muscle in her body tensed. There was no turning back now. What do you know? He stepped closer, just enough for her to see his features warped in the foul light. Things aren't always what they seem, Emma. The truth is more twisted than you can imagine. She felt a chill race down her spine, an echo of Mason's warnings. What are you talking about? He smirked, lifting a hand slowly to reveal a small object, something shiny glimmering cruelly under the light. Cold dread pulled in her gut as she recognized it, the locket Emma always wore, frosted in her daughter's memories. What do you have to do with this? Before he could answer, a noise shattered the night, a growl, followed by hurried footsteps breaching the darkness. Emma whipped her head around, panic sinking her heart. Who else was here, and were they friend or foe? Time is running out, Emma. Are you ready for the truth? The figure hissed as she turned back toward him, breathless and terrified. The air charged with tension thick enough to choke. Did she really want to know? Would it lead her to Emma or push her deeper into a nightmare? Emma's mind raced as she heard a voice separated from the dark. Mom! Her heart dropped. Was it a trick, or was it really her daughter, alive and calling out for her? Emma? She shouted, desperation fueling her voice. But as darkness descended further around her, the figure melted away into the shadows, and the chilling voice echoed back. You have no idea what you're walking into, and then it swallowed her whole. Emma felt the world around her fold in on itself, a black hole of dread pulling her deeper. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears as she tried to make sense of the two worlds colliding, her daughter's voice, and the sinister figure vanishing into the darkness. Emma! The voice called again, sounding closer now. Where are you? She shouted, her throat tight with anxiety, eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of movement. The park was no longer familiar. Each rustling leaf and distant sound felt like a trap set to ensnare her. She started to move toward the voice, adrenaline fueling her steps, but doubt gnawed at her mind. What if it was a trick? What if she was being lured into a nightmare worse than the one she was already living? Mom! The voice came again, clearer this time. Hold on! She cried out, pushing through the thick underbrush lining the park's path. Then she saw a flicker of movement. A small figure darting between the trees, but it was too dark to see her face. Hope surged within Emma, battling against the fear that it might be her imagination playing cruel games. Emma! Is that you? Help me! The urgency in her daughter's voice cut straight through her heart. She stumbled forward, each stride propelled by raw emotion. As she burst into a clearing, panic seized her. Emma! The girl stood just outside a faint halo of dim light, her hair shimmering like a ghost in the darkness. Emma rushed toward the figure, relief and terror mingling in her chest. But as she got closer, her feet froze, her breath caught in her throat. The child was Emma. Who are you? Emma gasped, confusion spiraling. The girl's face was shadowed, her features distorted and eerie under the moonlight. Help me, the girl whispered again, but there was something wrong the way she spoke, something felt off, like she was a puppet being pulled on strings. Where is Emma? Emma demanded, feeling the walls of despair tighten around her. Suddenly, the figure from earlier reappeared, lurking just at the edge of the light. You should have listened, Emma. His voice slithered through the air like smoke. Stay away from her, she shouted, positioning herself protectively in front of the girl, who was still too foggy to identify. She has the key, don't you see? The figure continued, stepping closer, his shadow stretching menacingly. You thought you could just waltz in here and demand answers? The truth is more complicated than you know. What have you done with my daughter? Emma's voice trembled, raw anger surging. The eerie girl stepped forward, her eyes glimmering unnaturally. Mom, it's a trap, get out. In that instant, the figure lunged forward, and Emma's instincts kicked in. She spun around, grabbing the girl's arm. They had to run. The grip around her heart tightened painfully, as fear ignited her senses like a flare in the night sky. Wait! The girl cried, startling Emma as she tried to pull away. You don't understand. But there was no time. Emma pushed forward, dragging the girl along as adrenaline surged through her veins. Footsteps thundered behind them, the figure's harsh voice chasing them into the darkness. You can't escape the truth, Emma. It will find you. The world before her was chaos, but a single thought remained clear: she had to find Emma, and she had to get out, away from the shadows and lies closing in. As they veered into the tangled underbrush, Emma felt a desperate resolve build inside her. Leaving the park behind, a flicker of light in the distance drew her attention. A house. Was it a haven or an even bigger trap? Mom, we can't go there. It's not safe, Emma faltered. Should she risk it? A wave of conflicting emotions hit her. But then the figure's chilling laughter echoed in the darkness, cold and mocking. Wouldn't he stop? She needed answers, but at what cost? Trust me, the girl urged, her pull on Emma's arm insistent. But who was she really? They stumbled, hearts racing, uncertainty shrouding their path forward. Emma felt eyes on her from the shadows, waiting, watching. Would she find the answer she sought, or would she plunge deeper into a trap? With no way out? The truth was lurking just ahead, but how much was she willing to sacrifice to uncover it? Facing the light, she took a deep breath, bringing the girl closer. We have no choice. We move forward together. But as they stepped into the light, her heart sunk. What awaited them could unravel everything. And she had to know what had she truly walked into. The moment they crossed into the light, the atmosphere shifted. It felt warm compared to the frigid darkness they had just escaped, but there was an unmistakable sense of wrongness about it. The house loomed ahead, its windows dark like empty eyes. Flickering neon lights advertised a diner that seemed frozen in time. "What is this place?" Emma whispered, her voice cracking. "It's a trap," the girl replied, her expression shifting too rapidly from fear to something sharper, more dangerous. She squeezed Emma's arm. "We need to go right now." Emma could feel the tension between them, a pulsing energy crackling in the air. "You keep saying it's a trap, but what do you know?" Before the girl could answer, the figure emerged from the shadows, his silhouette stark against the glow of neon light. "Emma, don't listen to her. She is trying to lead you astray." Emma's heart raced. "What do you want? Who are you?" "I want to show you the truth," he replied, stretching a hand toward the diner. "The truth about this place, about your daughter and yourself. Come, let me help you." "Help me?" Emma exclaimed, her voice rising. "You've done nothing but terrorize me." His lips curled into a smirk. "No, my dear. I show you your fears, not your daughter. She is not what you think she is. You need to understand the bigger picture." With dread pooling in her stomach, Emma took a step back, pulling the girl closer. "I'm not interested in your games. I can show you what she really is." His tone was deceptive and silky, wrapping around her like a snake. The girl beside Emma shook her head, eyes wide. "Mom, listen to me," he is lying. "You have to believe me." Emma looked between them, her mind racing. Could the sinister figure be telling the truth? Was there something hidden even from her? An invisible weight hung in the air, pressing on her chest. "What do you mean?" Emma asked the girl, fear cracking her voice. "What is stop? You don't want to know," the girl pleaded, but the desperation only made Emma more determined to find out. "You need to hear this for your own sake." The figure's voice was smooth, dripping with dark temptation. "Enough!" Emma shouted, her heart pounding against her ribcage like a drum. "I won't let you twist this anymore. We're leaving." "A fuel choice, my dear." The figure stepped fully into the light, and Emma gasped. His features were sharper, the intensity in his eyes almost hypnotic. "You can't escape your reality. It's already written." Fingers tightening around the girl's arm, Emma pulled her away from the figure. But as they turned to run, the haze around them thickened. Shadows loomed and whispered. The very light around them seemed to flicker ominously. "Mom, we have to go," the girl urged, fear cutting through her voice. "He is not what he seems." But in the back of Emma's mind, doubt swirled. Could this girl be hiding something too? Were they both pawns in this twisted game? Just then, a screeching sound echoed behind them, an engine revving, followed by a series of shouted voices. Panic erupted in Emma's chest as she recognized the chaos unfolding ahead like a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces. "Emma!" The voice was unmistakably familiar. It pierced through the din. Her daughter. "Emma! Are you there?" A flash of hope ignited in Emma, drowning out the shadows. But as she turned toward the sound, the figure chuckled darkly. "Don't you see? She is already in danger because of you." "What do you mean?" Emma's heart trembled as the girl's grip slipped from her hand, fraying the thread of her mounting resolve. Without warning, the shadows lunged forward. Emma scrambled, but as she reached for the girl, she vanished into the thick dark fog enveloping the diner. "No!" Emma screamed, face burning with desperation. "Time is running out, Emma," the figure taunted. "You can save one, but at what cost?" The question swirled in her mind, tormenting her. With every second ticking by, The trap deepened. What would she risk to uncover the truth? And would she find her daughter before it was too late? As the world around her dimmed, Emma took her first step into the heart of the terror, waiting for her, knowing that secrets often come with a heavy price. With that heavy thought, she faced the darkness, knowing she couldn't turn back. What awaited her inside could change everything or shatter her completely. The diner door swung open with a groan that echoed like a lament through the thick fog. Emma's heart raced as she hesitated, caught in the battle between fear and the desperate need to find her daughter. She stepped inside, the air thick with a blend of frying oil and something distinctly metallic that sent an icy shiver down her spine. Lights flickered overhead, casting eerie shadows that danced wildly across the tiled floor. The familiar scent of coffee mingled with the grotesque impression of something stale. Memories of shared breakfasts and laughter clawed at her consciousness, taunting her with normalcy, a normalcy that felt miles away now. "Mom!" The voice jolted her, sharper than the clatter of silverware. Emma spun toward the sound, her pulse quickening. The diner was empty save for bubbling pots and a neon jukebox, yet she felt watched by unseen eyes, the corners of the room shrouded in darkness. "Emma!" It was her daughter's voice again, closer this time, filled with urgency. Panic surged. Where was she? "You made a mistake coming here." The sinister figure emerged behind her, his voice smooth as silk yet laced with menace. "You'll regret it." Emma clutched her stomach, fighting nausea as anxiety clawed at her insides. "What did you do to her?" He leaned closer, eyes glimmering like the ash remnants of a dying fire. "I merely revealed the truth." His words wrapped around her, heavy and suffocating. "What truth?" Emma couldn't afford to unravel more of his twisted game. She pressed forward, ignoring the tremors in her legs, fighting the urge to turn back to the door that now felt like a false promise of safety. Rounding a corner, Emma spotted a half-open door at the far end of the diner, light spilling softly from within. Hope ignited a flicker within her. "Emma!" she shouted, rushing toward it, her voice cracking under the weight of fear and hope. As she pushed through the door, she stepped into a bathroom. Decades of grime and neglect lined the mirrors. The fluorescent lights buzzed over her head, flickering like the heartbeat of the room. Her reflection wavered, uncertain, just like her heart. "Where are you?" Emma's voice trembled, barely above a whisper. Then she heard it, a soft sob echoed within the tiled walls. It was unmistakably her daughter. Emma dashed to the stall at the end, throwing the door open, and nothing. It was empty. "Stop toying with me," she shouted, frustration giving way to desperation. "What have you done?" "We didn't bring her here. This is for you," he replied, stepping close enough to tower over her. His presence was suffocating, filling the room with dread. "You have to make a choice, Emma." "Choice? What choice?" His grin widened, revealing sharp teeth that gleamed in the dim light. "Save your daughter or uncover your past. Only one can be saved, and time is quickly running out." A chill ran down her spine as his words snapped like a rubber band in her mind. Choices her whole life had been filled with them, each one a thread leading to where she stood now. But how could she choose? "Choose wisely," he taunted, fading into the shadows as she spun, scanning her surroundings frantically. "Emma!" The voice echoed again, louder, blending with the chaos around her. But where? It felt as though the room constricted around her, the walls edged in on her sanity. Suddenly, the door behind her slammed shut, plunging her into darkness. She fumbled for the handle, but panic caught her breath. "Let me out! Let me out!" Too late, the figure whispered from the shadows, voice piercing through the veil of terror enveloping her. "You can't escape your fate. It has been written." Now what? Images flooded her mind, memories long buried, secrets she tried to forget. Could she really face the truth, no matter the cost? And as the darkness pressed in, leaving her gasping for air, Emma realized she wasn't just fighting for her daughter anymore. She was battling the ghosts of her past, the shadows echoing her deepest fears. Amidst the encroaching shadows, something shifted. A sharp clattering broke the silence, echoing like a gunshot across the heavy air. "Find me, Mom!" That voice. Emma's heart surged again, connected to each desperate cry. But what terror would she unleash if she braved the awful truths waiting in the dark? Her resolve hardened. She took a step forward, ready to confront whatever demonic choice lay ahead, knowing the answer could shatter everything. Would she uncover the truth before it was too late, or was she merely pulling herself deeper into the whirlpool of a fate she could not control? Emma's heart thundered as she steadied herself in the enveloping darkness. Shadows churned like restless spirits, and the oppressive silence snaked around her throat. The only flicker of light came from a crack under the door, but it felt impossibly far away now, like a beacon from another world. "Find me, Mom!" The voice was urgent, but fear twisted in her gut. She hadn't heard it in days, weeks, an imprint of hope shining through the chaos. But could it really be Emma calling her, or was it just another cruel trick, another part of the twisted game? "Emma!" she cried, desperation ringing through the empty space. Her voice echoed back, taunting, cruel. She could feel the reality of the situation pressing down upon her like a weight she couldn't shake off. The floor creaked beneath her, as though even the diner had forgotten how to be still. She wanted to flee, to throw herself against the door and escape into the fog outside, where at least she might find someone to help. But no, she had to move toward that voice. She had to confront the undeniable truth awaiting her. "Go away!" She felt the walls of sanity closing in, each heartbeat marked by the haunting laughter that echoed in the corners of her mind. "What do you want from me?" Something skittered across the floor, an unexpected sound that froze her in place. The feral noise chased away her thoughts, and panic clawed at her throat. "Mom!" A muffled sob broke through the noise again, more fragile this time, winding around her heart like a vice. "Emma!" She was moving before she even realized it, feet pounding on the tiled floor, adrenaline surging through her veins. The stalls loomed like sentinels, each closed door a possible answer, a choice to be made. Would she find her daughter there, or a piece of her own haunting past instead? "Emma, where are you?" As she approached two stalls that remained closed, the air thickened, turning stagnant. The fluorescent lights above buzzed unsteadily, setting her nerves on edge. It felt like stepping into a horror movie where the protagonist unwittingly opened the door to doom. She reached for the first stall, her hand trembling as she turned the handle. To her shock, it swung open, revealing nothing but a cracked toilet and a chipped sink. "Emma!" Panic clouded her vision. She rushed to the next one and yanked it open, holding her breath. More emptiness, only the echo of her call bouncing back at her. The nagging specter of failure loomed, the bitter taste of dread creeping back, whispering that the choice wasn't against some shadowy figure, but against her own ghosts. "Stop hiding!" she shouted, voice tinged with desperation. "Face me!" Silence taunted her. The air thickened, weaving its way deeper into her bones. Suddenly, a sharp clatter echoed again. A metallic sound, closer now. A shiver raced along her spine as she turned, eyes wide, heart hammering like a wild bird trapped in a cage. And then she saw it, the sink in the corner had been disturbed, water pooling around it. Something was submerged, half hidden from view. With shaking hands, Emma stepped closer, dread coiling tighter. She bent down, reaching into the murky water, and what she grasped sent a shockwave through her body. A band of silver glinted from her fingertips, a hidden trinket she had long thought lost, a link to the past she had buried deep. Her heart raced as calm surged over her in waves of memory. "What have you done?" A low growl resonated from behind, constricting around her like a snake winding its way closer. Not the figure from before, this was something darker, something familiar. "Do you see now?" The voice was a whisper that seemed to rise from her very soul. Staring into the swirling depths, Emma knew what was at stake. It wasn't just about her daughter anymore. It was about the life she had carved from ashes, the choices that had led her to this haunted place. As realization gripped her, chilling her blood, she understood that the deepest darkness lay not in the shadows around her, but in the light she dared to uncover. What truths would emerge? The voice called again now, distorted and tantalizing. Emma's decision was imminent, and every heartbeat hammered a countdown in her mind. Racing against time, she took a deep breath, preparing to confront the abyss. Would she step up and reclaim what was lost, or would she plunge into the unknown? The tension hung thick in the air, ready to lacerate the instant she made the choice. And as the world around her teetered on the brink, she knew she would have to face the monstrous truth waiting just out of reach. Light flooded the diner as the door swung open. Emma stumbled back from the shadowy depths, her breath hitching as she faced the figure who had kept her on edge. It was Mason Cole. The sight of him brought both relief and confusion. He looked older, his face lined with worry, the dark intensity of his eyes narrowing as they locked onto hers. "Emma," he breathed out like a prayer, stepping further inside. "Mason!" The name slipped past her lips with disbelief. Wasn't he supposed to be here? Not in this twisted scenario of her life. But the urgency in his eyes stirred something within her, a flicker of fleeting hope amidst her despair. "What are you doing here?" she demanded, caught in a whirlwind of emotions. "I came to find you. I was worried." He moved closer, his presence commanding yet tender. "You shouldn't have come here alone." "Why? You think you can keep me safe?" There was defiance in her voice, but fear gnawed at her insides. Mason sighed. The tension in the air surrounding them were thick and charged. He pointed behind her, shadows lurking around the corners like hungry wolves. "Honestly? No. But I know what's lurking in this place. We have to face it," he replied, his voice steady. That moment, another metallic clatter echoed, and the chilling reminder of their sinister companion invaded her senses. The figure reemerged from the shadows, a sly grin crawling across his face. "Ah, the gallant CO. How noble to come rescue her, Mason," he mocked. "Leave her out of this." Mason's voice boomed, the authority within it resonating through the diner. "Too late for that. She's in my game now, isn't she?" The sinister figure turned back to Emma, his eyes flashing with something dark, predatory. "Time to make your decision, dear Emma. One must be sacrificed, your daughter, or the truth about your past." "Enough," Mason yelled, stepping protectively in front of her. "Can you lie to yourself, Emma? Can you face what you buried?" The figure taunted. "Dare to speak the glimpses of truth you keep hidden away?" Emma's heart raced. The chaos swirled around her, leaving her breathless. She glanced up at Mason, whose expression held an unwavering resolve. "What do you want me to see?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Your time of denial is over. You've been shielding your heart from the past, but it's caught up with you now." The figure laughed dryly, a sound that pricked her skin like needles. "Choose, Emma." Emma felt everything freeze for a moment. The air grew thick with tension, as if every second was leading her closer to an irrevocable choice. She took a step back, tension radiating. Could she confront the memories that haunted her? The choices that led her down this chaotic path? "Mason, I can't," she whispered, feeling the weight of history, her fears threatening to consume her. "Don't let him control you," Mason urged, intensity sharpening his voice. "You have the power to choose your truth. You can face it together." Their eyes locked, and in that moment, Emma's heart surged with something unfamiliar, a glimmer of courage. She finally understood. The truth didn't have to drown her, it could release her. What did I lose? She asked softly, turning back to the figure with newfound strength. What have I been so terrified to know? Very well, let us let the truth unfold, he crooned, stepping forward into the dim light. Emma steeled herself, determined to peel back the layers that had suffocated her for too long. The room twisted, shadows shifting as the figure's silhouette distorted into images of her past choices made, love lost, and fears buried. You think you can run, Emma, but every choice is painted on your heart, he sneered. But there, among the chaos, Emma found clarity. Words she had locked away gushed forth, fueled by years of solitude and hurt. I choose to accept my past. I choose to face it with courage. I choose my daughter. The declaration erupted like a wildfire, igniting energy within her. The shadows fluttered, revealing bright, vivid memories, her daughter's laughter, the warmth of shared moments before the cracks began to widen. And amid the horrific images, she saw herself the strength she had always known yet feared to unlock. No! You can't do this! The figure screamed as the light of her truth sparked brighter, illuminating the dark corners of the diner. Mason stepped by her side, muscles coiled and voice calm. You can't hold her, nor her choices, captive anymore. Embrace your truth, Emma. With one last flicker of darkness, the shadows retreated. Emma felt a weight lift, the terror that had pressed against her heart for so long finally fading. Mom! A light voice broke through the thick air. A silhouette ran toward her. Emma's heart soared, certain she knew who it was. Emma! It was her daughter, emerging from the crumbling darkness, glowing with light. Emma rushed forward, enveloping her in an embrace that filled the void left by fear and uncertainty. They were finally together again. Mama! The girl cried, holding on to her like a lifeline. I'm here. I'm right here, baby. The tears swelled as hope flooded back into her life. The truth had redeemed her. It had saved them both from the lurking fears that had threatened to consume them. Mason stepped back, a soft smile on his face, watching them share that moment, a promise of safety and love forged in the fires of fear. Now, it's truly time to go, he murmured, guiding them as the remnants of the dark figure evaporated into thin air, leaving nothing but echoes behind. Hand in hand, Emma and her daughter faced the new dawn, a dawn that shimmered with possibilities, anchored by choice and love. Together, they walked out of the diner and into the light, ready to reclaim their lives without the shadows of the past. As the first rays of morning kissed the cold San Francisco streets, Emma understood. The truth was never a prison. It was the key to liberation. And as they stepped forward into the brightness, she whispered, together, we can face anything. Now, if you've made it this far in the story, I'm begging you subscribe immediately to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm, because your support means everything. Flood the comments section with your thoughts about this ending. What do you think will happen next? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. True fans show their support, and I believe you're one of them. Let us keep this community growing strong.